Last night before the game, it was a walk down memory lane with some of the best arms and bats from the Phillies past. During the game, it took until the 8th inning before the bats came alive and delivered a pounding to the Mets bullpen, showing their true offensive side and the best of the Phillies present. 12 straight home wins and the charge toward the top of the division headline Game 2. Cole Hamels takes the ball and control of the Phillies' future. It seems only appropriate that on Alumni Weekend, the Phils are carrying their longest winning streak here in Philadelphia since 1991. It's up to 12 straight here at Citizens Bank Park. Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Mets is coming up in just a little bit. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Gary Matthews will be along after the Ribbon Chicken Contest in just a little while. Well, we got a heck of a pitching matchup on paper tonight. Johan Santana against Cole Hamels. Now, these guys have a lot in common, Wheels. Both are left-handers. Both have really good changeups, and both had a lot of no decisions in the first half of the season.
Yeah, the teams have not scored for them, Tom. You know, everybody knows about Hamels and Halladay for the Phillies, and Johan Santana's been through that a lot this year with the New York Mets, where they just don't score. Now, the previous starts there, you see there were 5 of them where he just pitched great. Earned run average under 1. Now, the last 2 starts, he's really struggled. 22 hits and 12 2/3 innings with a couple of long balls. Phillies got him for 4 home runs in a game earlier this year, but the guy really is a tremendous pitcher. Now, Cole Hamels in the game up in New York, you could see that he was going to have a tremendous season. Phillies were not scoring. In fact, they didn't score a run in that whole series, and he hung in there in that game, and then the Mets got him a little bit later on, added a couple runs that really wasn't going to matter because they didn't score. But here's Cole Hamels after 22 starts in these years. And look at last year. He was 7-7 at this time last year. But look at the earned run average compared to this year. This guy right now is pitching very, very well. He's had his fastball since spring training. You can realistically say his fastball now is around 93, 95. He maintains it throughout the game. He's added the cutter, curveball. If they can score him some runs, he always has a chance to win.
Yeah, Wheels, how about 8 no decisions, as we mentioned, but an earned run average of 3.11 during those no decisions. So a heck of a matchup tonight between Johan Santana and Cole Hamels. The last time Santana pitched against the Phillies, Shane Victorino hit a grand slam against him. The Parade of Champions on Alumni Weekend when we return with the starting lineups. Phillies baseball is brought bullpen to take the first of this 3-game series. That's how you know things are going well for the Phillies, and now they find themselves a game out of first place of the National League East. Now they have a tough customer in Johan Santana that they'll have to deal with for tonight's ball game. Santana has been a lot like Cole Hamels this year as far as his win-loss record goes and his earned run average goes. His team has left him out on the mound or in the dugout with an awful lot of no decisions. But Cole has had some really good stuff, particularly from a fastball standpoint. His fastball is topped out at 96 miles per hour consistently over his last couple of starts. And after his bullpen session this past week in Florida, Mick Billmeyer, the Phillies bullpen coach, walked away and said, wow, that was really good. That's a pretty good compliment because a guy in his bullpen session sometimes can carry over the success from his previous game. Well, the Phillies have taken the field. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the New York Mets. It's brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off at shortstop, Jose Reyes. Angel Pagan, the left fielder, bats second. Carlos Beltran hits third, followed by David Wright, the cleanup batter. Mike Hessman makes the start over at first base. Jeff Francoeur is in right field. It might be the final night that Francoeur is in right field for the Mets. Henry Blanco's behind the plate. Ruben Tejada is the second baseman tonight. He'll bat eighth. And batting ninth and pitching is Santana. And they'll face Cole, who comes into this game with a 7-7 record, a 3.56 earned run average, but 8 no decisions for him this year, Wheels.
Yeah, those stats don't sound like 7-7. I mean, you look at the numbers, and anybody who's been watching the Phillies all year, fans know how well Cole Hamels has pitched. Been in a lot of no decisions, as you say, Tom. A lot of games where they didn't score many runs, and he has had very, very few outings this year where he was not effective and gave his team a chance to win. Here's our Southwest Airlines scouting report, and yeah, that fastball is in the 89 to 95 range right now, and he maintains a good fastball up and down throughout the game. He's pitched against the Mets a lot. Record not so hot, earned run average under 4. 4 no decisions in his last 4 starts, including a hang-in-there job in Washington the other day when they won that game.
Well, before the ball game, the Parade of Champions, the Phil's alums, including Art Mahaffey and Gene Garber, they were introduced to the sold-out crowd. There's Tony Taylor. He got a great reaction last night and continued again tonight in front of this crowd on a beautiful night for baseball. How about Milt Thompson? What a reaction the fans gave him. And Milt embracing Charlie Emanuel and a couple of the players before the ball game. Mike Lieberthal is here. We're hoping to talk to Lieby later on here in the booth. And we're ready to get this one underway. Hamels against Reyes to start it off. And here's the first pitch of the ball game. And a changeup on the outside corner. The scouting report did not say that if you're the New York Mets.
No, Reyes thought it was outside, too, so he not only gets a changeup that he takes, he thinks, oh, that's a big plate early on.
Reyes last night was 1 for 4. He is a double threat because of the ability to bunt. He has 8 bunt singles already this year. And you see Polanco in at third just a little bit. There he shows bunt and takes a pitch for a strike.
Yeah, you always have to think about him bunting, although he doesn't do it anywhere near as much as he did at one time. He's up there hacking away, and he will be with 2 strikes now.
He's hit in 4 consecutive games, but he is 4 for his last 22. 1-2, the count to Reyes. And he stays alive. Last 4 outings for Cole Hamels. 4 no decisions and a 2.67 earned run average. It just doesn't compute. 31 strikeouts during that span in 27 innings.
It'll happen. That's baseball.
Just off the outside corner, and it's 2-2.
Boy, Reyes diving. I don't know whether they want to come inside or not, but watch him dive to the outside. Look at him looking out there and just everything away. They're going to come back inside. Nope, no, they're not.
Just got a piece of it to stay alive, and it's 2-2.
I don't know whether they thought he was peeking or what, but you could see right to the last second, Carlos was set up inside, then bounced to the outside where the pitch had been called. But when a guy's diving that much, sometimes you just want to come in there, and then other times you're worried that he's, maybe playing possum a little bit and looking inside.
On the hands, a pop up toward first. Mike Sweeting in foul territory. He's backpedaling in pretty good ways. 1 away.
That's why you come inside. When a guy's diving like that, you can jam it. I mean, that was kind of ridiculous what Reyes was doing.
Well, it's time now for the Nissan Keys to the Game.
And here they are. What a great matchup tonight. Two of the best change-ups in the game, a couple of Bugs Bunny change-ups, and make the plays, because this could be a close game if both these guys are on their game, and the team that, well, 3 outs in an inning has a better chance to win.
Oh, it's the end of the model year, and Nissan's laying it all on the line. Nissan's bottom line sales event going on now. Here's Angel Pagan, who takes a 94-mile-an-hour fastball for a strike. Pagan was 1 for 4 also in last night's game. 6 for 20 lifetime against Cole. Talked before about the fact the Phillies begin tonight a game out of first place in the National League East. How about that?
Thanks to Pat Burrell last night. Sack fly in the 11th inning, and the Giants wound up winning the game, and Charlie Manuel's team won back, as Tom says.
Back on the 22nd of July, the Phillies were 7 games back in the division. Rollins takes care of Pagan, 2 away. Since that time, the Phillies are 11-2, and that's where they stand. A game behind the Braves in the East, and a game and a half with the Cardinals in the wild card.
Well, the Phillies had gotten themselves into a spot in that series in Chicago and St. Louis, where if they didn't straighten it out, they could have been double digits behind the Braves. That's how well the Braves were playing and how terrible the Phillies were playing.
And now the Phillies are 13 over 500.
Unbelievable.
There's Beltran out in front of a changeup. Beltran was hitless in 4 at-bats last night. Talked to Carlos before the ball game, and he asked him about the big brace that he's wearing on his knee, and he said he's adjusted to it well, and just he's been out of the game for a long time because of that knee injury.
Yeah, his timing's not good. You can just see, offensively, he's nowhere near the player that you're used to seeing, and we'll see if he ever becomes that player again.
Just missed off the outside corner. I was about to say on the outside corner.
Well, you were right.
Awfully close, so it's 1-2.
It was a lot closer than the first pitch of the game. Which Welke's that?
That's Tim. That's the older of the two.
There's some confusion here tonight.
Swing and a miss. He got him. That's a pretty good cutter right there by Cole Hamels. 1, 2, 3 go the Mets here at the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first. It's the Mets nothing and the Phils coming up. To the way that they have played offensively, but also the way they've played overall. They only have 3 home runs this month, so they've played some pretty good small ball. Let's take a look at his starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Same lineup as last night, except for the starting pitcher. Jimmy Rollins, Raul Ibanez, and Placido Polanco. Then Mike Sweeney, Jason Worth, and Ben Francisco. And the bottom third of Carlos Ruiz, Wilson Valdez, and Cole Hamels. And they'll face left-hander Johan Santana, who is 8-6 overall with a 3.20 earned run average.
Well, Santana's been hit around his last couple of starts. This guy can still crank him up with the best of them, though. A great pitcher, but does not have the fastball and the separation between his fastball and changeup that he used to have. And as a result, he can have games where you can hit him a little bit. Braves got some runs off him early in the game. In his last start, Southwest Airlines scouting report, he's at the point where he's throwing almost fastball changeup exclusively. He'll mix in a couple other pitches, a cutter, breaking ball once in a while, but you look fastball changeup. This guy's a great athlete, but look at his fastball now, 87 to 91, and And this guy used to be a 93, 94 guy. Even when he came over here to the National League, he was throwing that. Since his arm problems, he can't do that anymore. At least it doesn't seem like it.
Well, facing Jimmy Rollins, who was 1 for 4 last night.
So as a result, you know, we talk about separation between fastball and changeup. Hamels is significant now. Santana's isn't.
He's allowed 11 runs in his last 2 starts, 7 runs in 1 game, 4 in that game against the Braves. And Jimmy Rollins lines one towards center, and it's going to hang up there for Beltran. So 1 away here in the first.
And he threw 2 fastballs in a row there at 89.
And Jimmy hit it hard. And here comes Raul Ibanez.
Yeah, it's Jimmy just shaking his head there. What are you going to do? You hit a ball that hard? It's into an out. Stay with him.
Raul with a 14-game hitting streak, overall hitting .274. He was 1 for 4 in last night's game, and he has very good numbers against Santana. And you say that with kind of an exclamation point, because Santana, obviously a left-hander, against the left-hander Ibanez. 357.
The left-handers can have numbers against this guy because his best pitch is a changeup. And, you know, he's not a nasty left-hander with a nasty breaking ball. So left-handers can hit this guy.
Well, he's quickly ahead of Ibanez. No balls at 2 strikes. And there's that changeup, and he's down on strikes.
I think what Santana's making up right now in his lack of velocity is that he's smart and he has a real good idea of how to pitch, and he can still compete. There's that great changeup, just like Hamels, or maybe you should say Hamels just like Santana, because he came along first.
Well, now with 2 outs, it'll bring Polanco to the plate. Santana has 130 wins in his career and 66 losses, and an earned run average that in today's ball game is pretty good at 3.12. And he's going to have a very quick first inning as long as Francoeur puts this away, and he does. It's an 8-pitch first inning for Johan Santana. So both pitchers retire the side in order, and that takes us to the top of the 2nd. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Phillies game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Phillies.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Top of the 2nd, David Wright leads it off for the Mets. It'll be David Wright, Mike Hessman, and Jeff Francoeur. Wright had a base hit in last night's ball game, but he is 1 for his last 19.
Streaky player, David Wright, throughout his career. And the Phillies have caught him both ways. They seem to catch him more hot than cold. And he has really hit in this ballpark over the years. Hit Cole Hamels pretty well. He's a timing guy. You see right there, he's way behind that fastball. You watch, he has a lot of moving parts in his swing. And when he's on, look out. And when he isn't, you can pitch to him.
Cole is ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. foul ball continues to keep the count at 0-2. Nice catch by a gentleman in the Hall of Fame club. There's Joe Blanton, who pitched very well last night. He received a no decision, but allowed just 2 runs over 7 innings. And he's gone 6 innings or more in 9 of his last 10 starts. And he's been better lately. In fact, the Phillies staff has been better lately, too. If you look at their numbers since the All-Star break, you know, Charlie's watched his offense kind of come to life over the last 10 days or so. But, you know, the staff has been pretty consistent, too. The starters have been consistent. And that certainly has helped in this run that they've put together.
Well, you can't have a run if they're not. And that was the thing you looked at. There you see the starters, as Tom mentioned, the bullpen's record since July 22nd. You looked at the way things were going and said, how's this team ever going to put a winning streak together? Because the rotation just wasn't stable. And it has been a lot better, and as a result, they put some winning streaks together.
A foul ball off the glove of Ruiz, and it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Every team starts with starting pitching, and you go as far as your starting pitching. You know, offense, you got to have it. You got to have bullpens big time. But if you don't get starters, don't get you deep into today's game the way it's played, you can't compete.
Off the end of the bat, and Valdez can't get it. A base hit for right. And that's the first hit of the ball game.
Change up right off the end of the bat.
Well, Cole retired the Mets in order in the first, and every time the Phillies retire the opposing team in order, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Xfinity Triple Play, your complete lineup for digital TV, high-speed internet, and home phone. Mike Hessman is the batter. Hessman's playing first base tonight for Ike Davis. The thought is to put a right-hander up against Cole because lefties have had such a difficult time against him. Lefties are hitting just 178 against Hamels this year. And that's been pretty consistent.
And he's a lot like Santana in that he's not a nasty left-hander. He uses fastball changer, but that cutter's helped him, I think. There's Hessman's home run, and you saw J.C. Romero like that ball was playable. And it wasn't.
And then Brad Lidge came on and got the final out last night. The Phillies picked up the win.
I think the cutter has been the reason why Hamels is better against left-handed hitters this year, because he has something that goes away from him. He didn't before. You know, his fastball, last year he didn't have, you know, a very good fastball, but he's an over-the-top left-hander. He's nothing tricky about him. He doesn't, you know, make hitters pull off necessarily, but just that little movement away with that cutter has changed his approach, the way he approaches left-handed hitters.
He's ahead 1-2 to Hessman. That home run for Hessman was his first this year in the big leagues. He had 18 down in the minors and a swing and a miss, and that's one of the reasons why he probably isn't up in the majors consistently. He's an older guy, but you can sometimes get him on soft stuff.
Yeah, that's the kind of guy right there that you want to go slower if you can. He throws a change up there and gets him. You know, you can tell he just wants to hit a fastball, like most guys.
So Jerry Manuel, the manager of the Mets there, they made a couple changes before the start of this ball game. They have brought up Fernando Martinez, who is one of their prized prospects from AAA, and he's probably going to be out in the outfield playing every day come tomorrow. And that means that Jeff Francoeur will have his playing time diminished again. They also brought up Ruben Tejada, who's playing second base tonight. They released Alex Cora and sent Jesus Feliciano, the outfielder, down to AAA. Here is Francoeur, and he lifts it toward left. Got that one in on the hands, and Ibanez makes the catch.
There's a cutter. You know, he got a strikeout to end the first inning on Beltran on a cutter, and there he gets a cutter there in on Francoeur. And, you know, that's the difference with Francoeur. He's shaking his head. When he swung at that, he had a fastball. He thought to hit in the middle of the plate. Watch what happens when he hits it. It's down on the bat a little bit. That pitch has really changed Hamels.
And the fact that he's controlled it more as the season's gone on has really helped him.
Oh, yeah. You know, he throws it any time now. He's confident in it. You know, he worked so hard on it in spring training.
That'll bring Henry Blanco to the plate. Blanco catching tonight, hitting .264 with a couple homers and 7 RBIs.
You really have to be exceptional at this level to pitch fastball changeup as a starter. And that's all you throw. Or basically all you throw. And, you know, he had gotten into that last year.
Runner goes. Changeup is taken for a strike. You throw to second, not in time. And because it was a changeup, David Wright had a very good jump. And that's his 16th stolen base of the year.
The Mets have a lot of stolen bases with Reyes, Pagan, David Wright. And he read Hamels perfectly there. Went on first movement. Carlos Ruiz threw from his knees. You know, he knew I had no chance to stand up and get it.
Between those three guys that you just talked about, they have 61 stolen bases.
And that's a good way for them to play in that Grand Canyon of theirs.
1-1 the count.
They have a huge home ballpark.
Just off the inside corner with a cutter, and it's 2-1. Blanco has basically been the backup catcher all year for the Mets. Rod Barajas is the normal starter, but he's on the disabled list with an oblique strain, and he hasn't even begun his rehab assignment yet. Over toward third, a foul ball. So David Wright goes back to second. Since the All-Star break, the Mets as a team are hitting .215, which is why one of the reasons why their numbers, their win-loss record is so much below 500. That one's pulled towards shortstop, taken on the second hop by J-Roll, and he hurries to throw the first in time to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position. We go to the bottom of the second. It's the Mets nothing and the Phillies nothing. One of the hottest shows on TV is coming to MyPHL 17. Catch Jeremy Piven in the acclaimed comedy series Entourage, where the day-to-day life of a Hollywood actor is anything but ordinary. Weeknights this fall on MyPHL 17. Last of the second, Mike Sweeney leads it off. Boy, it has turned out to be a gorgeous weekend here in the Delaware Valley.
It's pretty here again tonight. Great pitching matchup, great crowd, the alumni night.
Mike Sweeney had 2 hits in 1 inning last night, an RBI and a run scored.
These guys have a history. Longtime American League players, Santana and Sweeney.
You'll see his career numbers against Santana, .273 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs. He's 12 for 44 against him.
Pitched him a little backwards there. He started him change up, then went fastball.
Toward right center field, Carlos Beltran over into the alleyway. He'll make the call, and Sweeney's retired. One away. One of the great things about Alumni Weekend is the John Vukovich Award. which is given out annually in honor of the late great John Vukovich, who did so much work in the Phillies organization. There's Vuk's widow, Bonnie Vukovich, to the right, with Mike Compton, who has done amazing work in the Phillies organization over the years, and it is a well-deserved honor.
And would Vuk be proud of that, because he and Mike Compton were really close friends and had a tremendous amount of admiration for each other. Mike, a catcher in the Phillies system a long time ago, and has been a catching instructor, a field coordinator in the minor leagues, just a solid guy.
Well, congratulations to Mike and his family. With all the Phils alums in the house, you know, Vuk is very near and dear to a number of them.
I'm sure his name comes up in some stories.
I would think so.
Kind of like around here.
There's Jason Worth, and the count is 1-1 strike to Jason. And he lays off, and it's 2-1. That's a tough pitch for Jason. He let it go by, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, how about this football score? The Blue Jays kicked a field goal in the 9th inning.
Jeez, 8 more.
And they win it 17-11. 8 home runs for the Jays.
It's just ridiculous with these homers.
Now, their team record for homers is 10. They did that back in '87. Now, that team, they had some bombers on that team. And I guess you could say they've got some bombers on this team, too.
I guess you could say that. We saw them here, and all they did was swing for the fences. And the Phillies handled them a little bit. They couldn't handle Markham that day as Jason walks. But you talk about at-bats where they had no game plan except to see how far they could hit it. That's the Blue Jays.
Well, speaking of home runs, the London McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Lillian Lippon of Lumberton, New Jersey. If the Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, then Lillian will win $200. That's the thing about the Phillies. You know, they are a home run hitting team. And as we mentioned before, during August, in which they have won 5 games, they're 5-0. They only have 3 homers.
Well, they get a couple guys that aren't playing that hit homers, too, not Lee and Howard.
One of the big differences, too, for the Phillies is that they've gotten some of the bench players going, like Francisco, who has hit over 400 in his last 11. There's Chase, who continued to take ground balls again today at second base.
How Santana can really hold runners on. Look at that slide step he uses. And, you know, he doesn't worry about what it does to his stuff because it has never really affected him. You cannot, I mean, it's almost impossible to run on a guy that's that quick to the plate if he does it again. Look at that. I mean, that's like a 1-1, a 1-2. There's nothing you can do about that.
Well, it seemed like, looking at the scouting report, he had he had the best numbers of anybody. He and Nice.
Well, they're 5 for 5, but only 5 guys.
Not a lot of attempts.
Yeah, only 5 attempts so far.
2-1 the count to Francisco. And Ben rips a changeup foul. And Jason will go back to first. Davies got the stopwatch over in the first base coach's box.
Yeah, he knows there's not a lot they can do with this guy tonight. You know, they may have moments and they may pick up something. That time he didn't slide step quite as much. He varied it a little bit. There he picked his leg up that time. So, you know, Santana, being the smart pitcher that he is, will do those things, you know, to try and hold runners on.
Well, Davey, with that stopwatch, you know, he'll start it as Santana releases to the plate. Worth leads off first.
If they run here.
Nope. And a pop-up. We'll find the seats over the Phillies dugout.
Ben's been swinging a little bit better, and I thought maybe they might start him. But he's more of a fly ball hitter than a ground ball hitter, so they're not thinking ground ball double play as much as strikeout double play, I guess.
Santana maybe thought that Jason would change his plan and take off on this pitch.
Yeah, they thought maybe they're going to run on the count and he'd leave early. And that's the one thing you have to do as a base runner right now, because you are not stealing the base. You're just going on the count.
Davies' expression very rarely changes.
It does.
Down the left field line, he got out in front of it again.
David said something the other day really made me laugh. We were there talking about a bunch of things. And he says, you know, I don't get mad at players anymore. He says, I just get disappointed. And I thought that was a great way to put it. He gets mad. He doesn't get, he doesn't get mad. He just gets disappointed. So.
Inside ball 4. That's pretty good at bat. Back-to-back walks. And there are runners on first and second. Look at the reaction for Carlos Ruiz already. He's just walking up to the plate. And Blanco's going to go out to the mound and talk to Johan Santana. Look at Davies' hand. Ready? Right there.
Yeah, that's how he figures out that's what the time is that we give when somebody talk about a guy's times. 1.2, 1.3. And what he's doing there is he's showing on the replay, and then he's also he'll also do it and get in the back of his mind, you know, what happens with the slide step, what happens when he picks his leg up, what other times.
Carlos has been one of the hottest hitters for the Phillies. He's 10 for his last 19 with 7 RBIs. He's hitting over 400 in the month of August. And see what he's done with runners in scoring position. And that's what's happening here. The Phillies have a runner at second in Worth, a runner at first in Francisco. Chopper toward third. Wright will touch third and has time to throw across the diamond. A 5-3 double play. So the side is retired here in the second. No runs, no hits. One man left. We go to the third in a scoreless game. Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. The question is, name the Mets pitcher who struck out 16 Phillies twice in games 5 days apart. What do you think, Wheels? Can't answer that yet, Wheels. Just
I got a guess.
Answer will be revealed in the 7th.
Could have been a couple of them.
Could have been a couple of them. Yeah. We go to the top of the third, and joining us up here in the booth is former Phil's manager and coach, Lee Elia. Did you know that answer, Lee? To that trivia question?
I don't know it.
Because Will sometimes needs some help. You might have been able to help him out with
He's
that.
helped me a lot over the years with a lot of things.
Hey, when I managed, Wills gave me a lot of help.
Especially with the outfield position.
How about this place? Is this beautiful?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
Well, Lee, we were talking to Kevin Stocker about that. You know, when he was playing in '93 at the Vet, you know, in the years after that. I mean, it was a great home field advantage because the fans were so into it. But you know, when you're part of the organization and you were part of the vet, and now you come over here to Citizens Bank Park and you see how many people come out. I mean, it's got to be amazing to see.
Yeah, this is very special. I mean, every time I've been here about a dozen times, and I sit here and there's downtown Philly, you know, and it's very obvious the way I talk that I'm from Philadelphia.
Ruben Tejada pop up into foul territory. Sweeney gave it the best look he could, and it's just out of his reach.
For people who don't know, Lee is from, some people pronounce it Alney, some people pronounce it Alany.
Right.
How'd you pronounce it?
Alney.
Right.
Alney High School, right at the end of the subway stop.
Yeah, it's a heck of an effort there by Sweeney, Lee.
Yeah, it really was. He's some kind of guy.
Well, just meeting him the last couple of days, I mean, you know, not only is he thankful for this opportunity, but also I think he's invigorated by the opportunity too, Lee.
Well, you know, when you come here and the history that we have here in this ballpark, after so many years in Kansas City, this has got to be exciting.
Doubt. Yep, he said the same thing. One away as Tejada pops out to right. Now brings Santana to the plate. Well, before the ball game, the alums were introduced to the fans here, and there's Lee, introduced by Dan Baker. The other thing I thought about too, Lee, is that you guys have coached and managed and played in so many games that to hear the reaction from the fans has got to be pretty neat on a night like this too.
Yeah, that was very exciting. To me, being in the locker room and being with guys, you know, from the 80 ball club and the great Jim Bunning and some of the other guys, you know, a lot of these guys, believe it or not, I've always admired. And not only was I down there with them through some tough times when we were making that stretch drive in 1980, but it has always been a very special part of my life. Needless to say, with Wheels and the relationship we've had over the years,
you know,
some of our wonderful golf tournaments we've had.
You know, when I see you sitting here, all I can think about so many things that we've been through over the years, but two guys stand out, and one of them's not here tonight, and the other one's coming in on Tuesday, and that's Vukenbauer.
Right. Well, you know, I still see Larry a little bit, and I don't think he'll ever change, although he has gotten a little older on us. And Vuk, probably the closest thing I've ever had to a brother in baseball. You know, we were together. I managed him in the late 70s in the Eastern League and in Oklahoma City, and we both were fortunate enough to come up here. He has a player and me as a third base coach in 80. And there's always a certain bond that you have with somebody. And he always had an innate ability to grab somebody and let them know that he cared. And not only as you as an individual, but for the love that he had for this organization and what this place has done for so many people. And I'll always miss him. He's in my room. I mean, I got some great pictures in there. I called it, my mom always said, it's not anything but your den. Because I call it my ego room. Whenever I get a little depressed, I'll go in there and I'll look at Schmitty and Lefty, and, you know, and I got Vuk in there. And it's hard to explain unless you sat down there in the trenches and know what it's like to go through a stretch drive in 1980 to do something special.
Well, I think what you said, too, about how he made everybody feel, you know, so a part of his life, whether it be, you know, he wanted to give his opinion about something, which he would give his opinion about something. I think it was never more, I mean, when he passed in his funeral, and so many people from the organization and even outside the organization that came to his funeral, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it really was.
And he very affectionately had a nickname for Lee.
Yeah.
He used to call him the Nut.
What did your mom say about that?
Well, I didn't pass that on. But I would say he calls me the Nut. And when you get to know him, he was the nut of the nuts, you know. But no, he was a sound guy. You know, I mean, imagine being on a World Championship club. And I don't know how many at-bats he got that year, but he was a force in the locker room.
I'm sure he was.
He had an impact in there with Bull and Schmitty and the guys, you know.
He had one, Lee.
Huh?
One at bat.
One at bat. Yes. Well, that's why we said he was the highest paid player in the National League. Pulled back.
Polanco takes care of Jose Reyes. It's a 1-2-3, top of the third here at Citizens Bank Park. Well, Lee, we appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the weekend. It was great seeing you.
Thank you, Tom. And
Lee, our guest here in the booth. We come back. We go to the bottom of the third. By Budweiser, with full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. And by Acura. Acura, advance. Now, last to the third, no score, and it'll be Wilson Valdez, then Cole Hamels in the top of the order. Valdez, who played for the Mets last year, 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. He struggled a little bit over his last few ball games. He'll probably get a day off tomorrow with the right-hander R.A. Dickey scheduled to pitch. And he bunts toward the right side. It's a beauty of a bunt. Tejada has it. Off balance throw. Oh, just in time. How about that release?
Well, they say he's played great. He's only 20 years old. You can see how young, young legs, and the way he came after that thing and threw a seed over to Hessman. This looks like a hit because he does a great job getting it by Santana, but he bunted it pretty hard. And a great job there by the second baseman, Tejada, to come on, get it. Normally, if you use your glove, you have no chance to make that play. You almost always have to barehand it, and he did both and transferred it somehow. Wow.
Well, even though Luis Castillo still has a couple of years left on his contract, they say that Tejada is up here to play. He's not going to sit. And the same with Fernando Martinez, who is out of the lineup tonight, but is probably going to be in the lineup tomorrow and then beyond.
Watch him transfer there. Now, Wilson's, he's been an average runner, but that's still an amazing play that he bunted. The only thing he did at that time, he bunted a little bit too hard.
Right.
But that thing was rolling fast.
There's Castillo. Castillo may play against left-handers, but that's something, or against right-handers, excuse me, but that's something that remains to be seen. And 2 away here in the third, which on a hot night would be our thirst inning. It's brought to you by Budweiser. It's the official beer of the thirst inning. Out at the chicken and rib contest earlier today on Citizens Bank Way. It was hot. There was a lot of great food, and it would have been nice to wash it down with one of those cool beverages.
Couldn't do that today. A little early for that.
Sure, there were folks that were doing it,
but they weren't in here, or at least they aren't yet.
With 2 outs, here's Jimmy Rollins. Boy, what a great event today, too, out there on Citizens Bank Way.
Well, Gary does a great job with that, Gary Maddox. He's been doing it a lot of years now.
Jimmy lined out to center his first time up. They appeal, and no swing, says Jim Reynolds, the first base umpire.
It's fun having Lee Ely in here. He's a Philadelphian boy. As he said, you could tell by the way I talk. He is a Philadelphian.
I should have asked him about when he and Book used to put the garbage cans in front of your car at the old vet.
And that was a lot. They put it behind my car when I would try to come out at night, because I worked a lot harder than them, and I would stay later. And I would come out, and they'd have this big garbage can behind, and it was hard to move it.
I would think it would be. And I'm sure that was their objective.
Oh, I could just see them laughing all the way home. Great guys. They were fun together, those two, Vuk and Lee Ely. Wow, 2 great baseball men, Tom. 2 great teachers of the game.
There's ball 4, and J-Roll walks with 2 outs. Think about that staff, 2 wheels from 80 that Lee was part of. Bobby Wine. I mean, it's pretty good staff. Here's Raul Ibanez. Ibanez struck out his first time up.
Trying to remember who the pitching coach was, and it's Herm Sturrat, I'm pretty sure.
It's always neat to watch Big D, Dallas Green, walking out when he's introduced to the crowd here. He got a great reaction last night when he was introduced as the others from the Wall of Fame.
Only 2 managers have ever won a World Series in Phillies history, and they're both here tonight.
Off the outside corner with a fastball, 1 ball and no strikes. In the air to center field. Pretty well hit. Beltran going back. He has room toward the warning track. He's under it, makes the catch. And the side is retired. Well, as we talked about during the top of the third, Lee Ilya so close with John Vukovic as so many guys have been, and so many stories to be told.
And oh, the stories we could tell.
W.B. Mason for amazingly low prices on office supplies, furniture, cleaning supplies, kitchen snacks, and Green Mountain Coffee. Who but W.B. Mason? Now we go to the top of the fourth. Gary Matthews joins us here in the booth in a scoreless game. And also joining us up here in the booth is the great right-hander, Senator Jim Bunning, who has been part of these alumni festivities during the course of this weekend. As Cole Hamels delivers to Angel Pagan, and the first pitch is taken down low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Pagan, his first time up, grounded out to shortstop, so he's 0 for 1. As Hamels so far has struck out 3, he's allowed just 1 hit through the first 3 innings. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And Sarge is fresh off of the chicken and rib judging competition on Citizens Bank Way. Senator Bunning is fresh off the introduction down on the field in the Wall of Fame ceremonies last night. So I don't know who had a better night tonight.
Well, I had a great night. I mean, there's no question about it. And just about everybody else. Pagan rips one there in the gap.
A one-hopper off the wall. Ibanez plays it cleanly, but Pagan's already at second. And he has a leadoff double. Jim, it's nice to see you. How's everything going?
It's great. Every time I come to the Phillies Alumni Weekend, it's just a little better than the last time. And, of course, I've been fortunate the last 3 years to be here. And the Phillies Ball Club, except for a few injuries right now, is the best ball club that I've seen them have.
I mean, that's what we talk about with a lot of guys who have played here in the city. They're fun to watch, aren't they, from a distance?
Yeah, absolutely. I watch every time I get a shot. I watched the 4-game series that they swept the Nationals on national television in Washington. And I can't believe those games. They were so close.
Well, here's Carlos Beltran, and Beltran pops one foul, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Well, and tonight we've got 2 pretty good pitchers. You know, Cole, who's been throwing great, and of course Johan Santana. You like watching some of these young pitchers, these guys like Cole Hamels out there?
Absolutely. If they trade this guy, they're out of their mind. You know why? I played with Chris Short.
That was a beautiful pitch right there on the inside corner.
Chris Short didn't become a big winner until he got to be 30. And then he won 15, 17, 19, 20. And it was only after he learned to pitch inside to left-hand, right-hand hitters was when he became a great pitcher. This guy already knows that.
Well, and he's shown it tonight, too. And there you see Shorty's plaque out on the wall, inducted into the Wall of Fame in 1992. And the words are perfect. One of the top left-handers in club history. At the time, 3rd all-time in strikeouts in club history. And here's David Wright, who singled his last time up, and a swing and a miss.
A wee bit tardy.
Wee bit tardy. He was a little tardy earlier too.
Yeah, a lot of times for me though, I'm not from the school where you throw that fastball and you're late. I mean, when you swinging at that first pitch fastball, for me, you
better be on it.
You better be on it for sure. One of the things that we learned from Willie McCovey and along with Mr. Mays, those hitting counts 2-0, 3-1. Don't be late. First pitch of the game. Fastball you're swinging, don't be late.
They usually weren't.
And you're right about that. What's your assessment, Jim, of all the no-hitters this year?
I just think that the pitching is so good that the lineups, each lineup that you face does not have the quality of hitters from 1 to 9 or 1 to 8, depending on what league you're in. And therefore, people can concentrate on 3, 4, 5, and 6 a lot better.
That's it, foul, and it remains 1-2.
And that's the reason you see a lot more people getting into the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning with no hitters than you would on the normally the hitting is a lot deeper in each. I mean, the Phillies are different, and so are the Yankees, and so are the Red Sox. But there's very few clubs. The Reds, unbelievably, Cincinnati.
A little late on that one, too. Good placement by Hamels. Good strikeout.
He's got that fastball throwing about 94, 95, and when he does that on that outside part of the plate, I mean, he can be devastating.
Well, speaking of no-hitters, let's take a listen to this great game here.
It's Father's Day in Shea Stadium, and history is in the making. He struck him out. Jim Bunning has pitched a perfect game.
Well, what a great reaction. I said no-hitter. Let's emphasize perfect game as Hessman rips one foul down the left field line. That was the first in Phillies history, and this year we saw the second in Phillies history.
I told Doc on the bench last night, I said it happens once a century, and you got the 21st, and I had the 20th century. So we've taken care of that for the last 200 years.
Have you seen him pitch a lot, Roy Halladay?
I have watched every time that I can.
He's a master. I mean, he really is.
Late movement on everything. I've never seen a guy.
Sound like it may have broken his back.
Off the end a little bit.
Yeah, Worth is back to make the catch. Side is retired. Mets strand a runner at second. Good pitching by Cole Hamels after that leadoff double. Senator Bunning's going to join us again as we go to the bottom of the fourth. prices and low financing at your Honda dealer. By Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. By Xfinity. It's TV, phone, and internet reinvented from Comcast. And by your participating Philadelphia area Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDealer.com. Oh, it's Alumni Weekend here in Philadelphia. Placido Polanco leads it off against Johan Santana here in the bottom of the fourth. And Hall of Famer Jim Bunning is joining us here in the booth. Jim's number 14, of course, is retired here in Philadelphia. Polanco flied out to right his first time up. And we were talking in the top of the fourth inning about Roy Halladay's perfect game. And Senator Bunning, you and Sarge were talking about the late movement that Roy Halladay has.
Either way, going away from the right-hander or coming into going away from the lefter. He's a master. I've never seen anybody as good that I played against or played with. I think he's without a doubt the best pitcher in baseball right now.
I love the way he pounds the strike zone.
Well, that's part of the being successful.
There's a foul ball right past Sam Prolazzo.
Yeah, he'll establish his fastball with the umpire. And when he locates it and he knows that that's the pitch that he's getting, he'll go to that, and he's able to hit it consistently. Every now and then he'll break in that curveball, but for the most part, that cutter throws a little bit of split at times, and he pitches with no fear. One of those guys that will intimidate a hitter if you let him.
Well, I just think he's, without a doubt, I don't know how you get a guy like that in free agency. You just picked up a guy from Houston for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I think he's going to help you a lot.
Roy Oswalt, no doubt.
Without any question, he's got great stuff. And if they score a few runs, when's the second baseman coming back?
Probably the end of August, maybe beginning of September. As Tejada makes a pretty good play on that. Comeback fly ball. And there's one away. And that's, I mean, all these injuries.
Chase is the heart and soul of the ball club, and to be one game out with him missing as many games, it's just amazing to me how good the Phillies are to be able to do that.
Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, just the way they played, particularly since the All-Star break.
Yeah, I got to give Charlie, though, credit for that. And he preaches, no matter who's in there or not, that you got to give that effort. And he expects to win. And he expects the guys that go in there to do the job, and they should.
Last night, the guy that took Howard's place was the key.
Mike Sweeney.
Mike Sweeney was the key to the game.
And there he is, as a matter of fact.
Out in front of a changeup, and it's 0-2.
He got a big hit in a big inning, and then had another big hit
in that same inning. Same inning. And a run, yeah.
So, you know, the people that are putting in to replace your bench is a heck of a lot better than people think. Ball 6 inches outside.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I think some of these umpires could be a little bit blind. Sometimes I think they go on sound, to tell you the truth. I don't know what's going on with the strike zone, and again, hitters will adjust.
I watched the game in Detroit when the kid from Venezuela got absolutely hosed out of a perfect game.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he doesn't realize what he got hosed out of.
Right.
But he'll never get close again.
No, years later he might, yes.
Here's Jason Worth, and he pops the first pitch foul. Senator Bunning, I wanted to ask you before we let you go, you know, it's Alumni Weekend. There's a lot of celebrations, a lot of excitement seeing folks again. This is the first one without Robin Roberts. It's kind of odd to not see Robin.
And Mage.
And Mage McDonald, absolutely. It's kind of odd not to see those two guys out there celebrating.
Well, I was with Robin at the Hall of Fame, and that's when he told me he had this lung problem. And they said they gave him 5 years. Boy, it went in like 4 months.
Yeah, way too fast. Way too fast.
He's one of the greatest, finest gentlemen that baseball ever has.
He was great to talk. We saw him in spring training, and you know it was always great to see him talk baseball. And like you, he was up on what was going on with the team too.
Well, I think without a question, he led the way on the Phillies. First of all, getting them into the World Series, and then winning 20 games, 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. My gosh, you can't do that normally with a great ball club and he did it with just mediocre ball clubs.
And all the complete games. I mean, not only
yeah, he used to kid me. He said, "Hey, kid, you only hit close to 200. I hit over 300."
Wow.
Outside, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jason Worth.
You know, I got to know Robin so well in the Player Association. He and myself and 3 others, we were instrumental in getting Marvin Miller as the head of the Player Association. And Robin really believed that we needed permanent leadership in the player group, or else we were going to get just blown away by management. And to get Miller at the time we did, he just overmatched the management side.
That's towards center. Carlos Beltran is there, and the side is retired in order here in the bottom of the 4th. Senator Budding, it's always great
Thank
to see you.
Very much.
Love talking baseball with you.
Sarge,
always a pleasure.
Great.
Always. Thank you.
Scoreless game as we go to the 5th here at Citizens Bank Park. There, the best Philly ever, Michael Jack Schmidt, 1995 Hall of Fame inductee, and it's Alumni Weekend. It's always great to see Mike and Senator Budding. Steve Carlton was here as part of the induction ceremonies yesterday. Michael, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, Tommy.
Always a pleasure.
You got the Democratic Party here. And,
oh my gosh!
And I'm sitting in that Republican seat right now. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Where are we? I'm sort of running neutral right now. I don't know what to do.
He came up and said, "Well, does Senator Bunny know that's your best friend?" There, like,
Mr. Obama's his best friend. I wonder if Mr. Bunning knew that. You know.
Well, equal opportunity. Equal opportunity.
I wouldn't dare.
Where are you on this thing?
I'm going to be down the middle on this one. Yeah, I'm going to be down the middle on this one.
You got to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's the safest way.
How's your summer going?
It's been great. I'm living up in Rhode Island. You know, the weather up there is sort of similar to your weather. You know, we get your weather a couple days after you have it. And it's been great. I've been living in a little place up there called Carnegie Abbey, which a good friend of mine from Philadelphia owns, and it's been gracious to my wife Donna and I, and we're close to our grandchild, Marlo Ada, beautiful little girl of 8 months.
Congratulations.
So everything's well, and every night I tune in to you boys. You're doing a fine job, as always. I'm not just buttering you up. You're very interesting to listen to. Now, I don't see Wheels' second stint because I'm in bed. You know, right after Sarge completes, right after Kerry completes the 6th inning, I go to bed. It's usually right around 9:30 or 10, right?
Oh, exactly.
There's Blanco who rips the single to left, so he's aboard with 1 man down.
And I've been living and dying with these dudes all summer.
Oh boy, I tell you.
Well, we were just saying to Senator Budding, I mean, you think about all the injuries. They've used 40 players this year. I mean, they used 40 in each of the last 2 years, and it's only the first week of August.
I don't think there's been any team that had 1, 2, 3, and 4 hitters all on the DL.
Right. Well, they haven't played together very long, but they've been getting really good pitching, and pitchers should really have more victories. Just some of the little things. You know how getting that guy from third base.
Both Roy and Cole should have 5 more wins, right? In a perfect world.
There's no doubt. So what's your assessment on those no-hitters this year?
No-hitters?
Yeah, I mean, there's been all over the league, and I've asked Doobie about that, the pitching coach. He thinks guys try and hit too many home runs.
I'd say pitching is good. Pitching is good. Look around the league. There's a lot of really, really good pitch with no-hit stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
Lincecum doesn't even have a no-hitter yet, right? And he did no-hit stuff every night.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Mike, I think it's bothering Sarge a little bit that there's so many no-hitters.
But you know what?
He's a former hitting coach.
Well, yeah.
He could get a hit anytime he wanted to.
So he says.
I like to see hitters hit. I mean, I just do. And I mean, we've been in games before where things weren't going well, and we had to scratch out a hit some kind of way. We didn't believe in a guy.
When you were in a game, and a guy had a no going against you, that was the #1 thing in the dugout, right?
Oh, no
It
doubt.
wasn't winning the game. It wasn't nothing. It was every at bat. Okay,
No doubt.
I'm stopping this thing.
No doubt
you
about
get down in there with it, right?
Oh, no doubt. I'm digging right on in there. Okay?
I got Nolan Ryan one time. You probably won't believe this. You weren't on the team. It was toward the end of my career. I got Nolan Ryan with 1 out in the 9th.
Oh, my.
On a 2-0 curveball.
Oh, gosh.
He had a no going against us. I'll never forget that.
Did he hang it?
2-0 curveball. Never hit a Nolan Ryan curveball in my life. And I don't know why I hit that one other than the fact that, like you and I just said, I was getting a hit.
That's right.
It was just a different at-bat. As Nolan Ryan pitching a no-hitter, and I'm giving it everything I got. And I couldn't be that. Couldn't concentrate that much every at-bat my whole career, but there was an at-bat like that. You're talking about a serious at-bat. 2 out or 1 out in the bottom of the 9th, Nolan Ryan's got a no-hitter.
Here's Santana, who check swings a single into center field.
By the way, there's a game going on.
Oh, we got it.
Pretty good pitcher duel.
I see that. I see a 0 up there in the wrong spot. We'll take care of that.
Speaking of no-hitters.
We'll take care of it. We'll just keep talking about it, and it'll go away.
I mean, you're looking at Cole giving up 4 hits so far. That's a great ratio. I mean, he's throwing some strikes tonight.
Yeah, throwing some strikes and really not getting all of his calls on certain pitches.
Let me take you guys back, say, to the beginning of the year, Cole Hamels. Would you say that maybe there was some rumors going around about being a little soft coming off the spring or the big year, all the awards, a pivotal game in the World Series last year, didn't come up big. Does he have the energy to be a great pitcher? California kid, laid back, not a lot of emotion. Do you think now, based upon his last 10 or 15 starts, he's washed that all away now and he's back to being the stud that he was?
Well, I've always liked it. Even going through that, early on, he never said he wanted to be the best pitcher. He always said he wanted to be a big game pitcher. His demeanor's off the map, and he's a young kid, though. Kids, people don't realize that. This guy's still young.
I think this is a big year for him. I mean, I think we all know he should have 5 or 6 more wins, and I think he is coming up big.
I agree.
Well, he's hoping the offense comes up big when we come back to the bottom of the 5th. Hey, this Monday at FDR Park in South Philadelphia, Cole Hamels is going to host a pitching camp for kids. It's for kids from 9 to 19. Now, there are limited tickets that are still available. The proceeds benefit the local Philadelphia schools and includes a 5-hour clinic, including instruction from Cole and other professional pitchers. It's hosted by the Hamels Foundation. You can purchase your tickets at the hamelsfoundation.org/events. That's the hamelsfoundation.org/events. And earlier this year, the Hamels Foundation donated $90,000 in grants to Philadelphia area schools. So they've done a lot of great work over the last couple of years. We move to the bottom of the 5th. Ben Francisco leads it off for the Phillies. Phillies are still looking for their first hit. They've had 3 base runners, 3 walks by Johan Santana. And that first changeup is over for a strike, and it's 0-1. And Mike Schmidt continues to join us up here in the booth. This is Alumni Weekend. Last night was the Wall of Fame induction as Darren Dalton was inducted. And Francisco pops one to second. Tejada takes care of that one away. And, you know, Mike, you've obviously been part of the Wall of Fame for a number of years. Is it neat to see a new guy come in?
Sure. Very deserving this year, as every year it is. But Darren, I think, was a great teammate, not only to me, but all the years that he played here in Philly in 93, you know, in the early 90s when they went to the World Series. And, of course, he went on to do great things with the Marlins. And there's no teammate around anywhere like Darren Dalton. Sarge was a great teammate. And when you think guys that were really fun teammates, guys that are fun to have around the clubhouse, gamers, this is one here to my right for sure. But Darren was consummate, mostly because of his example of rehabbing himself, the pain that he went through with his knees. I can imagine catchers, you know, that have bad knees. Can you imagine squatting?
No, not at all.
After major knee surgery. And I mean, Darren's a wonderful man, and I'm happy for him. You know, he feels very comfortable here in Philadelphia again now, as he said in his little speech. And I'm just glad the world's not coming to an end either. That's another thing, right? I feel so good now that I have that security to know that
everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, at least
right.
Well, I thought Lefty did a great job too yesterday. I mean, you know, talking and introducing Dutch at the Wall of Fame. You know.
I would pay. What would you pay to just sit and listen to Darren Dalton and Steve Carlton chat for about a half hour?
I did think about that yesterday.
You don't get a chance to add much very often, but Lefty is doing a whole lot of talking now.
2 interesting dudes.
Here's Valdez, who takes a change up on the outside corner.
Good teammates.
Valdez didn't like that call right there. He's chirping back to Tim Welke, the home plate umpire. And quickly it's 0-2, and Santana all of a sudden is starting to work ahead of the hitters these last couple innings.
Yeah, once you get into that 7th inning, let's see, 6. No, we're all right. It really only gets serious about the 7th when it comes to stopping no-hitters. That's when it gets to be serious.
Yeah, unless you're coming up in that 6th, there's no no-hitters. Now you're saying, okay, somebody's got to get a hit.
And a call, strike 3. 1, 2, 3 go the Phillies here in the 5th. 7 in a row retired by Santana. He has a no-hitter through 5 here at Citizens Bank Park. He is dealing on the outside part of the plate. We go to the 6th there in Philly. Jason Worth. There are no signs of him cooling off during the dog days of August. Jason is off and running for the final 2 months of the season, and he is connected at the plate with consistency from the heart of the Phillies lineup. There were rumors of Jason moving on last week, but he is a Philly, and a very productive one at that. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. We're here for you every step of the way. Well, it is a scoreless ball game as we go to the top of the 6th. One pitcher's throwing a no-hitter. The other one has struck out 7. Hamels has struck out 7. Johan Santana has not allowed a base hit. As we go to the top of the 6th, Angel Pagan, Carlos Beltran, and David Wright are due to lead it off for the Mets. The first pitch to Pagan is taken outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Mike Schmidt's joining us up here in the booth. As we said, it's alumni weekend. A lot of the Phil's alums were introduced before the start of the ball game today. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. You get a kick out of seeing all your old teammates?
Yeah, Gary knows. We have fun this weekend. We tell some stories, and we go back to the hotel at night and sit around and make like old times. And we only really see each other once a year, I guess. And the Phillies do this thing right, Gary?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're very classy in the way they handled it. Have been for many years. It's really neat. And all the organizations have their little alumni sort of weekends, but I don't know if any of them do it up as nice as the Phillies do.
A lot of the guys that come in from other teams even talk about it. Yesterday during the Wall of Fame induction, obviously the Phillies players were up on the railing, but so many of the Mets players were up on the railing too, watching what was going on.
Yeah, a lot of those guys were going, "Who's that? Who's that?"
Well, they were probably confused when you walked out. You were swinging left-handed.
No.
Right?
I mean, you find funny. It's amazing, and they don't really have to know the history of the game. But I think there's more of a tendency of players nowadays not to know so much about the guys 10, 12, 15 years before them, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you and I played, we knew.
Willie Mays.
You knew about all the guys that came before you, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. And in the other league, in the Negro League, I knew a lot of those players. And here you go, left-handed.
It was unbelievably smooth, though.
Oh, well, he's smooth now. I mean, come on.
Swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
Well, I was up in the batting cage, chatting with everybody's good friend Jimmy Rollins about keeping the ball on the line and on the ground and out of the dang air.
Yeah.
And I was really caught up in that, and I had sort of had his ear a little bit there. And, lo and behold, they came sprinting up the runway and said, "They just called your name, Mike. Come on." So I had to run out of the batting cage out onto the field. I was the first one to the park, first one down to the dugout. Oh, geez.
That's a fair ball down the left field line, and it hits off the wall, and Ibanez thought maybe it would hit off the half wall, but it kept on rolling down, and Beltran's going to stop at second. And it's a 1-out double. That was really close.
Well, where's Bob Davidson when you need him?
Really?
Oh, boy. I'm not going to touch that one there. No, I do, though. Thought he had him struck out that pitch before he ends up hitting this double right down the line. Looked like a changeup. He got out in front of it. There it goes. Hooking down the line. That's a tough play for a left fielder. You don't know whether or not it's going to hit the little railing or keep right down the line. That one did. Beltran not running as well as he has been. Other than that, could have been a triple.
Gary, does Rollins go straight to the corner in case it does hit the fence?
Well,
is that the play or not?
Well, he should be going out toward there. That would be the play that Polanco would go to third base. Yes, he's supposed to go on down, but you're talking if it hits off the rail.
Right, so Rollins would then pick it up.
He should be able to come up. Exactly. In that little angle, sometimes it'll shoot out a little bit straighter, and then sometimes it'll hit and come back. But
I guess you just have to prevent a triple. Basically,
that's right.
It's a double
that's
all
exactly
the way.
Right.
Yeah, because Beltran was thinking about it. If Ibanez had bobbled that even a little bit, he probably would have thought about going to third. Even with his wheels being the way they are. It's 0-2 to David Wright. Mike, you're talking to Jimmy about keeping the ball, lying the ball and not keeping it out of the air. I mean, do you when you talk to some of these guys, do you like hitting with them?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And when you get somebody that's receptive, and a lot of times it doesn't translate into immediate success on the field, but Now, Jimmy, we all love Jimmy Rollins, but we ended up, as David Wright strikes out, we ended up actually saying that he is short on concentration at home plate. There's got to be a point where he allows his brain to break down the mental image he's seeing of the ball go out there. He sees it going in the air. When he gets a good fastball to hit, he kind of pulls off of it, cuts it off, and it goes up in the air. Yeah, whereas a guy like Pete Rose used to try to keep it on the line and on the ground all the time. It translates into 200 hits and 120 runs scored. And the more you fly out, the less productive you're going to be, especially in his role in the batting order.
Yeah, and he has a little bit of an uppercut stance. He knows he's going to be pitched in because he's on top of the plate. And the guys, guess what, still will pitch away. But again, if he hits more ground balls and line drive, that's the year that he had all those triples. That's when he had his best year.
But you know, in the batting cage and pregame and batting cage and up in the runway in the batting cage, he can stand there and put a nice downstroke on it and keep the ball on the line and on the ground. Just that when he gets out in front of the 40,000 people, he cuts it off and allows it to get in the air.
Then that would be a lack of the mental concentration at the plate, which you got to have to be consistent.
Hamels is ahead, no balls and 1 strike to Mike Hessman, who's 0 for 2, and he spins back towards second just to keep Beltran close. Well, this game has taken on the same kind of tendencies that last night's game took on, although there were 3 runs scored. No, it's not a bad thing at all. That was an unbelievable 8th inning yesterday.
Looked like the old Phillies there, didn't it?
Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
What a way to play your first game as a Philly. Sweeney last night. You talk about diving for that ball at first base and getting his 2 big hits.
He was very excited. And, you know, when you play with bad teams for a long time and all of a sudden you have a chance to get to postseason, it does wonders for your whole attitude.
In the air to right field. Playable for Francisco. About 5 steps from the track. He makes the catch, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position. Michael,
thank you, Tommy.
great
nice
talking
being
to
with you guys.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yep, the greatest Philly of all time, Michael Jack Schmidt, joining us up here in the booth. His numbers will take us to break. Toyota, now's the perfect time to get yours during Toyota's National Clearance Event. Buy the Pennsylvania Lottery. Get your game face on. Play the Pennsylvania Lottery's new Philadelphia Eagles instant game. You must be 18 or older to play. Buy McDonald's, introducing strawberry, banana, and wild berry real fruit smoothies. Try a small for just $2.29 only at McDonald's. I'm loving it. And buy Suzuki. Cole Hamels leads it off here in the top of the bottom of the 6th. Johan Santana has not allowed a hit.
Yeah, he has been absolutely dealing, and now a little bit more confident as you see making pitch after pitch. You know, Mike said one thing, though. He loves to talk about hitting, and he'll have an audience when he starts to talk about it, and he does make sense of the things that he says and trying to hit line drive.
Swing and a miss and a strikeout for Santana. Well, he's now retired 8 straight, Sarge. Well, after the Mets leave Philadelphia, an off day on Monday, and then the Dodgers are in town Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All 3 games are at 7:05. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Another Philly alum, Larry Bowa, will be in town, coaching third for the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, well, he gets a little bit nervous, to say the least. Can't wait to see him.
Here's Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy rolls one, just foul.
Oh, pretty good throw, too. Okay, he's throwing those first pitch strikes down. When he does that, hitters will expand the zone. Well, this is the time when you really got to stay with whatever you want, at least for 2 pitches, and then go in this battle. So in other words, you're looking in, or fastball in, you stay with it. If you're looking soft, stay with it up to 2 strikes and try and go through the ball.
Hit hard towards shortstop. Reyes gobbles it up. J-Roll's retired for the second out. We have seen in Philadelphia Kevin Millwood throw a no-hitter. He did that on April 27th against the San Francisco Giants at the Old Vet some years ago, and he did it, Sarge, basically with 2 pitches, but the predominant pitch was the fastball that he moved up and down in the strike zone. Santana, you know, and Halladay has so many pitches that his perfect game was a masterpiece on his repertoire. Santana basically throws 2 pitches, fastball and changeup, and he hasn't allowed a hit with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th.
No, he hasn't. He has, though, Tom, been mixing in that sliders there.
He has, you're right.
And striking out. That's what he got Ibanez on, that slider breaking away from him, and the same with Cole Hamel. Not using that pitch, however, as much on right-handed batters because that pitch is coming into them a little bit more.
That was a little bit of a hanger, and Raul was out in front, and now he's got to brace himself for that changeup or slider.
Yep. He's gotten him on a changeup. Gotten him on that little slider.
43 fastballs, 20 changeups, 9 sliders, make that 44 fastballs.
Yeah, maybe that might be a little bit of a cutter that he's throwing because it is pretty hard moving away from the right-hander.
2-2 the count to Ibanez.
Got a decent fastball tonight, 91-92. That ball only has to move a little bit there from Ibanez for it to be a tough pitch.
He held up. They appeal. No swings is Mike DeMuro.
Take a look at that again, and looked like he held it up. You can see how defensive you are when you have those 2 strikes.
Swing and a miss, and it gets right on by Blanco. And Ibanez strikes out, but he'll be safe at first.
Maybe that's what they need. Put that runner on there again. And see if something bad can happen after that. Or I should say good, as that ball almost hits the plate. See that ball? That's that changeup Tom was talking about as it goes down.
Well, here's Placido Polanco. Polanco's 0 for 2. He slide to right, pop to second. Back toward the middle. That's the first hit of the night off the bat of Placido Polanco. And the Phillies have 2 aboard with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Not only does the strikeout force Santana to pitch from the stretch, but he throws more pitches.
High fastball has got on top of. Again, we've said it before, hitting that ball up the middle, you can get a lot of results. See, maybe if he can lose his concentration.
The strikeout and the wild pitch put Ibanez on first. And Polanco follows it up with a base hit up the middle. And here's Mike Sweeney, 0 for 2 tonight. He was out in front of a changeup the last time, and he fouls off the fastball here. It's 0-1.
Yeah, pretty good spot up and in. Well, Mike a little bit late on that pitch there. He has been jamming him, though. Not getting that barrel out.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Braves lead the Giants 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Chipper Jones, who had a big error in last night's ball game, has 2 hits, a double, and a run scored tonight for the Braves. Tim Hudson's pitching tonight for Atlanta. We have a stat on him. Santana gets Sweeney to roll one to shortstop, and Reyes throws him out. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left. The Phillies get their first hit against Johan Santana. We go to the 7th. It's the Phils nothing, the Mets nothing.
Bruce Springsteen songs, Glory Days, to go along with what's going on here tonight. Got a glorious game going with these 2 tremendous left-handers, and the alumni weekend, a lot of the old players, Hall of Famers here. Just a good ball game. You see the Mets are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring because the Phillies haven't had many chances, to say the least. And it will, Hamels with 9 strikeouts, Santana with 6, and the Mets once again will not have a no-hitter in their organization, and that's amazing with all those great pitchers they've had.
It is stunning to think about. The Mets, who have been around since 1962, have never had anybody throw a no-hit, no-run ball game.
And think of the pitchers they've had.
Yeah, from Jerry Kuzman to Tom Seaver to Nolan Ryan to Doc Gooden.
Now Seaver and
David
Ryan
Cohn.
Seaver and Ryan Cohn, of course, all those guys threw no-hitters, but not with the Mets.
Here's Jeff Francoeur to lead off the 7th. And a fastball upstairs to Francoeur. Francoeur tonight is 0 for 2. He's flied to left. He's also struck out. It's one to right field. That's pretty well hit. Francisco going back to the warning track, to the wall. He jumps, and it's gone. And the Mets lead it 1-0. I didn't think that had enough life to get out of the ballpark, but it did.
Well, Frank Core won a game for him this week with a home run in the 9th inning off Billy Wagner down in Atlanta. And, you know, he can still hit a ball out of the ballpark. He's just not consistent enough. It looked like a changeup. It was out over the plate a little bit. It was up. And he went the other way with it and just got it over the fence. Here's a hill. This will be a great look right here. First row.
Well, just the 6th hit for the Mets.
Well, no margin for error. You know, it seems like every time Santana pitches or Hamels pitches, the teams don't score for them.
The home run for Frank Core is 11th of the year.
As you said, he's close to losing his everyday job, too.
Yeah, the Mets have brought up 2 of their prospects. One is playing tonight at second base. Ruben Tejada, who's on deck. The other one is Fernando Martinez, who we understand is going to play right field. And Frank Core is probably not going to be an everyday player anymore. One and 2 the count to Blanco. Swing and miss, and Hamels got him. 10 strikeouts for Cole in the ball game. That is the 15th time Cole has struck out 10 or more in a ball game. Well, these lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They will each receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com.
Long way to go in this one still. It's just a shame that Hamels is dealing like this and they can't get anything for him. But that is Johan Santana out there, and he's good.
And Cole is on top of his game as well. He's had a really good changeup tonight. I mean, it's his best pitch, but he's had a really good changeup.
And his best pitch, you know, is his fastball, right? To set everything up.
Well, that's true.
You know, with that fastball that he has now, Tom, you know, he probably had a really good changeup last year, too. But you didn't know. Hitters just had a chance to hit it a lot better because they didn't worry about his fastball. And you better worry about his fastball now because it's 93.45.
Tejada's 0 for 2. He's flied to right. He is struck out. And he serves one foul. "95 pitches. That's a great split. 21 balls, 74 strikes.
Tremendous, huh? Not a lot of foul balls tonight. There have been some, but, you know, not an inordinate.
Towards second base, Valdez goes down to a knee to pick it up. 2 outs. Well, we mentioned the Phillies have a number of games in September against the National League East. Well, they have, you know, this game tonight against the Mets, one more tomorrow. Then they go up to New York next week. And then later on this month, they take on the Washington Nationals here at the ballpark for a 3-game series. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That Sunday game, it's a ShopRite Cole Hamels lunch bag cooler, free to fans 14 and under. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com.
Mentioned Santana is such a great athlete. We did that in the Keys tonight. I mean, in the scouting report, he has a base hit. The way he controls a running game.
Hit a home run earlier this year.
Yeah, right down the line at Citi Field. I'm trying to think who he hit it off. It was a good pitcher.
It was a good pitcher. I can't remember.
Real good pitcher, in fact.
Swing and a miss. And Santana's rung up. That's the 11th strikeout for Cole Hamels. Cole allows the leadoff home run to Jeff Francoeur, then picks up a couple of strikeouts. Jason Worth will lead it off as we come back for the bottom of the 7th. answer. Wills, let's refresh your memory. Name the Mets pitcher who struck out 16 Phillies twice in games 5 days apart.
You know, we mentioned all those great pitchers. There's one guy we did not mention in there, and I remember him doing it once, struck out 16 Phillies, and I'm going to say it was Doc.
I mentioned Doc, but you're right. When you said we didn't mention him, I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, you did mention Doc.
17 strikeouts in back-to-back games in September.
It was a mismatch.
Jason Worth leads off the 7th and pulls one right down the left field line. Hustling, going to second, and Pagan misplayed it, but Jason stops at second. He'll take a leadoff double. Nice way to start the home 7th.
Yeah, and now they got to get him in.
Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize packet. Thanks for playing Dodge Stuff the Fans.
It looks like it was probably a changeup when you see him getting out in front of it just a little bit, kept his hands back, hooks it down the line, and then it gets away from Pagan, but he is so fast that he was able to pick it up.
Well, Jason was safe and secure at second. New York Life. Here's Francisco. The corners pinch in for the Mets. And he bunted at it and missed it.
Yep, they had him bunting there. Thinking that maybe the Mets will play the infield back and let them tie the game in the 7th inning. I don't know about that. Whether they'd play it back, I mean.
Charlie chatting with Shane. Well, he got a good pitch to hit there. Maybe it was a little too high.
And he's trying to hit it the other way, too. So Francisco trying to play good baseball there, give himself up and hit the ball the other way.
By the way, Shane threw again yesterday. Ran a little bit more. He's been walking around the ballpark. That's part of his rehab. And he looked pretty good. I guess the key will be whether he can swing.
Yeah, he's getting close there. I think they're talking about hopefully sending him out next week to play some.
0-2 the count to Francisco here in the bottom of the 7th. Opposite way. Is it fair or foul? Foul ball.
Oh. Close. He gave it a shot there. Santana came in to jam him to try and prevent him from hitting the ball the other way, even with 2 strikes, and he just fought that thing off. Almost kept it fair. Watch him pull his hands in, and now it's slicing the whole time. Oh, it's a lot more foul than thought at first.
Nice play by that gentleman down the line. Yeah. Towards shortstop. Worth's going to try to go to third. Reyes throws to third, and they got him.
It's not good baseball. I mean, the ball was hit to his right shoulder. Can't outrun the ball a lot of times. You know, in that case, he's going to come and get you, too. The ball really has to be hit to your left shoulder before you try to go to third, especially with nobody out.
I think David Wright may have gotten a spike on that.
Well, watch where it's hit. See, it's to his right. And when the ball's hit to your right, plus he has to slow up a little bit to let it go by him. Reyes doesn't. Now, Wright gives him a really good target to throw. You know, you want to make sure you don't hit the runner there. And that's just a mistake. And hopefully it doesn't show up at the end as real big.
We mentioned there's really no margin for error for the pitchers, and a lot of times there's no margin for error for the base runners in a game like this.
Well, that was one of the things we put down the keys of the game tonight. Mistakes. Play a clean game. And, you know, in that case, a base running mistake.
Here's Ruiz. Chad Durbin had been loosening up in the bullpen for the Phillies. He's still out there. Hamels is due up after Valdez, who's in the on-deck circle. See, Carlos was really bared down late. Here's Durbin. Carlos is 0 for 2 tonight. He's grounded into a double play, and he has struck out.
You know, the Mets are wary using their bullpen until they get to K-Rod in the 9th. Especially after what happened last night.
Well, that's the 89th pitch thrown by Santana.
Yeah, that's no big deal for him.
He's already batted. I would think Jerry Manuel will just ride him.
He's going to ride him. You bet he's going to ride him. He's going to ride him to the ninth, you would think, if he can.
Slide step. 2-1.
That was a heck of a play by Blanco. I don't think that pitch was supposed to come anywhere near that area, and he reacted on a fastball too. Guy's a good catcher. Look where he set up outside. How did he catch that thing? That's the difference between the guys that can really play and, you know, just average catchers.
Carlos doing a nice job just spitting on those changeups. Here's Valdez. It's 3-1 to Carlos.
Kind of a big swing at that one then. It was a fastball and he was kind of loading up and trying to really hit and drive it. The key to his hitting lately has been short and quick.
Got him in on the hands. Popped it up right side of the infield. Tejada, the second baseman, is over and then back a few steps. And there are two gone. So Francisco goes back to first. Tuesday, August 17th will be the first look for the Phillies fans at the San Francisco Giants. A 3-game series. All 3 of those games are at 7:05. Might see Kane, might see Litzika, might see Sanchez. We know you'll see Pat Burrell. As Wheel said, had a sac fly in last night's game that gave the Giants the victory over the Braves. Go to Phillies.com to purchase your tickets. John Mayberry's come out on deck. Valdez bats here in the 7th. And he chops one foul. There's John Mayberry.
That's their only right-handed move, right?
That is it. Yeah. Glow, Dobbs, Schneider, and Dominic Brown. Valdez bunts toward third. Santana bobbles, throws, not in time. That's a gutsy play.
Well, he almost had a bunt single earlier, except for that great play by the second baseman, Ruben Tejada. And Valdez is a very good bunter. He bunted last night, got a hit out of it. This is really good. You know, the thing about this, Santana's going to probably throw him out if he gets it cleanly. That's how good a fielder that guy is. That thing was close anyway. Right there, it's a very good bunt. He thinks, just saw what he did there. You see him take a divot. He anticipated he was going to push it on him again. He started to move over towards second, and then he broke when he saw which way he bunted it. He thought he was going to do what he had done to him earlier.
So here's Mayberry, pinch hitting for Cole, who was outstanding tonight. Mayberry, a big swing and a miss and a changeup, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, Mayberry's swing is built for Santana's changeup. Because he has that big swing, and you know he's swinging at a fastball all the time, and he may not see one.
Towards center field, got that down toward the end of the bat, and Beltran moves just a few steps in to make the catch. Back-to-back change-ups. Mayberry's retired. The side is retired. The Phillies strand 2. We go to the 8th. It's 1-0 Mets. Top of the 8th inning, Cole Hamels' night is done. John Mayberry pinch hit for Cole. Cole went 7 innings, allowed 6 hits and a run, 11 strikeouts. He was outstanding tonight. And he'll give way to Chad Durbin, who picked up the victory in last night's ball game. Chad is 3-1 at 3.35 ERA. And the bullpen will be leaned on to try to keep this at a small deficit. It's 1-0 right now. And the top of the order is due up. Johan Santana's thrown 99 pitches so far.
He's got the 8th, that's for sure. He's got the start of the 8th. Maybe they'll have somebody up as the inning begins. And Phillies have to hope that the bullpen starting here with Chad Durbin can keep it right where it is. Because Rodriguez has been pretty good lately.
Here's Reyes. He's 0 for 3. 1 for 7 in the series. Durbin last night pitched a scoreless inning. He struck out Reyes. In fact, he faced the top of the order and retired him 1-2-3.
They had Sweeney way up at first base when the first pitch was thrown. Now they backed him up a little bit, figuring Reyes is not going to try to bunt his way on.
Down the right field line. That's got home run distance. It's hooking foul.
Man, that's a long one. He'll surprise you how strong he is once in a while. See Reyes hit a ball like that.
Back on the hands. That'll sneak into center field, a base hit. So he's aboard his second hit of the series.
Well, that's like a double most of the time when he does that. Because he will try to steal. And he almost always makes it. Here it is. Comes with a slider, it looked like, or a cut fastball, and it just came right back into the middle of the plate. Actually, he was in a little bit, and he fought it off, and you see that replay.
Reyes 21 stolen bases. He's been caught 5 times. I figure Pagan's going to give him a chance to steal. Polanco's in on the grass at third. Pagan shows bunt, takes one for a strike.
Chad Durbin has pretty good move to first. He can hold runners on.
That was awfully close.
Yeah, he's quick feet. He has a very good move. See right here how quick his feet are? Have to show a little daylight with that back foot, and he did. And get it and got it over there.
Trying to get Reyes in between steps when he throws over.
And when you keep trying to do that, you try to tire him out a little bit. You know, make him keep going back on his belly.
God bunts it toward the mound. Durbin's only play is to first, and the sacrifice is successful. Up to second goes Reyes. 1-3 on the putout. Hey, he's the late night host that's got Phillies talking Tigger. Catch celebrity interviews from the likes of Tyler Perry and LL Cool J. It's direct access with Big Tigger. Tonight at midnight on My PHL 17. And with one gone, here's Beltran.
Pay attention to Reyes at second.
He's kind of keeping him close because he's hovering behind him.
Yeah, and that means that, you know, they're playing the pull and playing Rollins up the middle, and he is the cover guy right now to come in behind Reyes and try and keep him at second base. You don't want him trying to steal third.
Off the end of the bat, Jimmy should take care of this one. That's a big out right there. Makes the catch, 2 outs. Durbin needs to get one more, and that's David Wright. Terry Emanuel's team is hitting .212 on this road trip with runners in scoring position. That's coming into this game, and that has certainly worked to the favor of the Phillies these first 2 nights. And Durbin has had Wright's number, and you can see what we're talking about. David Wright is just 1 for 10 against Chad in his career. almost got them fishing on that one. That was the cutter from Durbin, and it evens the count up at 1-1. Wright has the base hit tonight, but even with those numbers you just saw, he's 2 for his last 22. Way outside, and it's 3-1.
Well, you know, they'll probably hit Davis for Hessman if you lose David right here.
Yeah, Davis is on the stairwell in the Mets dugout. And ball 4. So 2 on, and here comes Ike Davis. Ike Davis is the everyday first baseman for the Mets. He has been since the first month of the season came to a close. He was just given the night off tonight to start because Cole Hamels was starting for the Phillies. How about Cole? Cole 7-7 coming into this ball game. 8 no decisions. He can't win this one. He can still get a no decision, but his ERA is unbelievable in some of the games that he didn't pick up a win in.
11 strikeouts here tonight. Francoeur hits that changeup, it looked like, out to right center field. And, you know, Francoeur hardly ever hits a ball that way. You know, it's an accident when he does that. And you give Jeff Francoeur credit. He hit the ball out of the ballpark the other way. But, you know, he just swings hard all the time.
There's Francoeur. Cole has 1 win since the 13th of June. And with all that said, his earned run average is under 3 during that span.
And nothing he can do about that.
Nope.
You know, and he never says anything about it except he goes out and he pitches, and he knows guys are trying. The Phillies have had so many offensive problems this year, and this, what they've been going through right now and winning, has just been remarkable.
Well, here's Davis. You see he's hitting .253 with 15 home runs. 53 runs batted in. It was a quick meeting on the mound as Davis was getting himself ready. Durbin turns him away, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
Yeah, Rich Tubey came out with a scouting report on Davis. And they technically have a base open here right now with Francoeur, right-handed batter, on deck. They don't have to challenge Davis here with anything good in the strike zone. 2 outs. Now you really want to be careful.
Yeah, because he's sitting fastball.
Oh yeah, you're behind him 2-0, and you know this guy's a good hitter, and he's got some pop too.
Well, with a changeup.
Yeah, that's sure, because you're going to pitch backwards there. You're not going to challenge him, and he got the changeup over, and Davis, to his credit, took it. Breaking ball. Well, they're pitching around him right now. You know, they haven't given him fast. The only fastball he's had so far is the one that almost hit him. So that, you know, they're almost going to say, "I will take our chances with Francoeur with the bases loaded." And if you pitch this way to Davis at this point, you really shouldn't give in now.
He did. Outside, ball 4, so the bases will be loaded for Francoeur. And if you're a pitcher, Wheels, even though the bases are loaded, you're thinking, all right, righty against righty and kind of a free swinger.
Right, and you know you just walked the guy. You know, he did that. He did this on his own, you know, walking the guy. There it is right there, and that pitch out over the plate, as you mentioned. Francoeur hardly ever hits a ball that way. And that's the difference in the game right now.
Well, and with that home run, I mentioned Cole's ERA since the 13th of June. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, 3.10. So it's just a little over 3. I mean, that's some incredible pitching.
Outstanding. He's had a great year. 1-loss record is not even close to the way this guy's pitched all year.
0-1 the count to Francoeur with the bases loaded. Outside with a slider, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now, they did the right thing here. They pitched around Davis with the base open, and 2 outs to go right with a guy who will chase. And now they got to get him out.
shook off the first pitch that Ruiz asked for and said yes to the cutter.
Yeah, he threw fastball there. So here's the pitch of the at bat right now. Because you don't want to go to 3-2.
2-2 the count to Francoeurs. Crowd, sold out crowd, 93rd in a row to their feet. Off the outside corner, and it is 3-2.
Yeah, changeup. Look how he threw a 2-2 changeup and really missed with it.
So the runners will be off. Reyes, Wright, Davis from third to first.
This is a hard guy to walk.
So many years we go down to Atlanta and they would talk about Francoeurs' new approach, say he's walking more. Well, that would last all of about 2 weeks. Runners go. Swing and a miss. He got him to chase a high fastball. Francoeurs is rung up. And the Phillies still have a little life. Chad Durbin works out of a jab here in the top of the 8th inning. You can exhale now. No runs. 1 hit. 3 men left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. And the top of the order is due up for the Phils. Let's see if they can ride the emotion. Art Mahaffey, Tony Taylor on a night that started with some celebration and some good eats, the chicken and rib competition. Sarge stayed a little longer than I did, by the way. The Phillies are looking for a little offense. What a great celebration today, not only with the alums in town, but also with all the folks enjoying the chicken and the ribs and everything else going on Citizens Bank Way. And now they're hoping to enjoy a victory as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Jimmy Rollins leads it off for the Phillies. 0 for 2 with a walk against Johan Santana. Santana pitching into the 8th inning. He has yet to reach 100 pitches, which is why the Mets bullpen is quiet right now.
And also because of what happened last night.
Very true. 2-0 the count.
He does not want to go to the bullpen. I mean, he being Jerry Manuel until the 9th inning when he can use Frankie Rodriguez.
Jimmy to left field. Coming on as Pagani plays it on a hop. That one got right in on the hands of J-Roll. I thought maybe it would hang up there, but it did not. And Jimmy's aboard for the 2nd time tonight. He's hit it 5 straight.
Yeah, he's done that a lot tonight at Santana. He's jammed a lot of hitters. And that was a good play by Pagani. When you can't get to it, keep it in front of you.
Well, the difference in 2 nights here at this ballpark, he was cruising into the 4th. Back on the 2nd of May, and then the Phillies erupted. And tonight, the Phillies haven't really erupted at all.
Now they have to get somebody up.
Ibanez takes a fastball. Oh, that's a tough pitch. It's been a strike tonight, though. I mean, Tim Welke has called the outside corner. He hasn't called the inside corner as much. But if you're a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter, it's tough to reach that one on the outside part of the plate. Opposite way, another base hit. Back-to-back singles to left. It's a 15-game hitting streak for Ibanez.
Boy, was that a nice job there. You mentioned, Tom, he was going to stay away from him. He's trying to keep him away from pulling the ball in the hole, getting a first and third. And look at that, they're getting Rodriguez up now. That was a point I was trying to make about their bullpen, how bad it is right now, shaky. There it is, great job. That was supposed to be away. Actually caught a little bit of the middle of the plate, towards the middle of the plate. And a nice job of hitting by Raul Ibanez.
Oh, trip to the mound. Dan Worth it out to talk to Johan Santana. Wheels is talking about the Mets bullpen. There's Rodriguez, their closer. They're 23 losses, the second most in the majors, behind Seattle.
He's retired 12 in a row.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have to look for a bunt here. I don't know whether you do it or not, but they cannot just assume the Phillies will not bunt, because this is not your normal 3-hole hitter, because you don't bunt with a 3-hole hitter.
Polanco's 1 for 3 tonight.
Polanco hitting 3 for obvious reasons, because they don't have one. Now see, they're all the way up. Davis, here comes Davis charging from first.
Polanco squares, and he bunts it toward the third base side. Santana's got it, off balance throw. They got it.
What a play by Santana! Wow, what a great athlete. And Wright read it perfectly. Rollins is not running very well because he would have beaten that. Goes in head first. Here it is. That's a pretty good bunt. That's a real good bunt. I mean, there are how many pitchers do you think in Major League Baseball come make that play? I'll give you an answer. A handful.
If he had straightened and thrown, he wouldn't have gotten it. He threw it kind of in one motion.
You have to be an unbelievable athlete to make a play like that. And as I said, he's not running very well.
Well, with 1 out, still a runner in scoring position for Mike Sweeney. Blanco's taking a very slow walk to the mound. I think that's partly to give Santana a breather.
Yeah, they gave him a stall too. Oh, they'd think about a pitching change or not, but Rodriguez is up for this inning if they need him. If they decide they need him, and there's Jimmy Rollins right there, and there's a time where that would have not been as good a play as they made there. They're not going to get him.
Here comes Jerry Manuel. He's going to make a double switch.
Yeah, he's going to him right now.
Fernando Martinez is going to commit to the ball game. He'll go to left. Angel Pagan will go to right.
Those are the Mets fans booing right now.
They could be.
Yeah, they don't want to see Santana leave the game.
So Frankie Rodriguez is going to come into the ball game for the Mets with 1 out here in the 8th and 2 runners on. We got a pitching change. We've got a new outfielder for the Mets. We'll tell you about everything when we return to Citizens Bank Park. when do you do it? Do you let him ride an inning? Do you take him out in the middle of an inning? Well, Jerry Manuel's decided to take Johan Santana out of this ball game with 1 out here in the 8th. And Angel Pagan moves from left field over to right field. So as part of the double switch, Jeff Francoeur is out of the game, and Fernando Martinez, who was just called up from AAA Buffalo, is in the ball game for New York. So he'll bat in the pitcher spot. There's Francoeur talking to Howard Johnson, the hitting coach for the Mets. Francisco Rodriguez in his 51st game, 4-2 with a 2.35 ERA. 23 saves. He's blown 5. And facing a guy that's seen him only twice before, I should say 3 times. Sweeney's 0 for 2 with a walk against him lifetime.
Yeah, they're not hitting for him either. Right-handed hitter's 195.
He kind of got a hanger there, and he was a little out in front.
Well, Rodriguez just does not have the fastball that he used to have. Watching him a lot in games this year, he throws a lot of breaking balls, curveballs, and changeups. And he starts, Mike Sweeney, with a curveball.
As Wheels mentioned before, he has 6 2/3 scoreless.
And 12 straight batters retired, evidently.
And time is called. Of the 19 inherited runners that he's come into ball games with on base, he's allowed 6 to score. That's a lot for a closer. It also tells you that he's been brought in the middle of innings.
Well, it also shows you something about the confidence they have in their bullpen right now. And you saw it blow up on them last night. There's Jimmy talking to Charlie Manuel. And so they bring their closer in the 8th inning.
1-1 the count to Sweeney with runners on first and second. Got a fastball and it takes it for a strike. It's 1-2. That bullpen, that's bullpen. 4.87 ERA since the All-Star break. And you see the first batter that Rodriguez has faced this year, he's had the advantage. Santana hopes that continues. Opposite way, caught by Davis, and it's a race back to the bag, and Polanco wins it. 2 outs.
And, if you had a runner on first, that's a base hit. You're going to go right through the hole. Of course, with runners at first and second, they can have Davis playing way off. And no double play involved because he can't beat him back. Santana very interested in what's going on here.
Well, here's Jason, who was 0 for 6 lifetime against Rodriguez with a couple of strikeouts. Jason tonight is 1 for 2. He doubled his last time up.
Willie Binding's trying to get a walking lead off second, not a fast runner, a good base runner, but not fast. So trying to get an advantage here with 2 outs at the crack of the bat. Maybe score that tying run.
There's a fastball in the outside corner. It is such an advantage to a pitcher when an umpire is giving the pitcher the corners. And Tim Welke has been doing that tonight and has been doing it consistently. The outside corner, I should say.
Yeah, that's it. That's where he looks.
Rodriguez saved 35 games a year ago for the Mets, a year after saving 62, and a Major League record 62 for the Angels. Breaking ball swung on and missed. It's 2-2. Well, we've run out there that he's due for the last couple weeks. 0 for 33 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position since the 19th of May. That fastball up to 94. Dirt. Blanco keeps it in front, and it's full 3-2. So now Ibanez will get a good start off second.
Yeah, this really helps now.
It's a 10-pitch inning so far for Rodriguez. That doesn't normally bother him. Once he's in a game, he throws a lot of pitches.
God, he's going to have to tonight because he's going to pitch tonight too. They could get him right now with a 2 spot. And he won't pitch enough. Because hopefully there won't be enough bottom of the ninth.
3-2 the count. The runners break. And a breaking ball, ball 4. The bases are loaded. And Ross Gload is going to pinch hit for Ben Francisco. Little apprehension, little nervousness for the Mets fans, particularly after what happened last night. Ross Gload starts to swing the weighted bat in the on-deck circle. He's been a good pinch hitter for the Phillies, particularly lately. Jerry Manuel makes the adjustment to his lineup card. He's not making any kind of switch. Gload 3 for 6. With an RBI and 2 doubles against Francisco. Chip Hale is aligning the defense for New York.
He's talking about, you know, they may pitch him a breaking balls changeup, so they want to play him to pull.
Runners not being held on. The bases are loaded. 2 outs here in the 8th. Inside ball 1.
And they go with an off-speed pitch. That was interesting. We see them setting the defense from the bench by telling them the way they're going to work the hitter. That's a great shot.
Also tells you how different Rodriguez is now compared to a couple of years ago.
And they also think Gload's a good fastball hitter.
Which he is. In the dirt. Nice play by Blanco. 2-0.
It's unbelievable. He's had a couple of them tonight. That thing's by him. Look at this play.
Wow. It was by him. Gload is ahead. 2 balls and no strikes.
What a groan.
Might not be the last one we hear.
It's a great game. This, you know, you hope when this one started it was going to be a great game with these 2 tremendous pitchers here tonight, Santana and Hamels, and they didn't disappoint.
Got a pitch to hit. He fouled it off, and it's even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, he's come with a couple fastballs now. They started out off speeding and fell behind, and now fastballs come even.
to stay alive. 3 straight fastballs. And Gload fouls it off. Now a meeting at the mound between Blanco and Rodriguez.
Yeah, they've gone fastball after fastball. Now this will be, what do you think? Do you think you want to go all speed here? And if we get the 3-2, oh boy. So that's what they're talking about right now. Whether they think he's on their fastball or they want to try it again, or whether they want to go to his off-speed pitch. And he can freeze a guy, too, with a curveball. He can throw a knee locker up there.
That curve he threw Worth, Jason, that he swung at and missed, was one of those knee lockers.
Oh, yeah, he can do that to a hitter.
2-2 the count. Tying runs at third. The go-ahead run is at second. And he tried that knee locker. It's outside. The runners will go.
And he tried to do it, throw it on the outside corner, but he missed. Now he got himself into what? Is this a fastball? We'll see. But when you throw a 2-2, you can't be afraid to throw a 3-2.
Gload walked with the bases loaded last night in that stunning 8th inning. Three and 2 the count. The runners go. Breaking ball pulled towards second. Tejada's got it. He stumbles just a little bit. Low throw dug out by Davis. And the side is retired.
And he threw the 3-2 curveball after the 2-2, and that's what you have to not be afraid to do.
It took him 18 pitches, but he preserves a 1-0 lead for Johan Santana. The Phillies strand the bases loaded. They've stranded 8. Mike Davis, an unbelievable play to finish up the inning. Games the tickets are going quick for all 4 of the ball games, so get them now by logging on to Phillies.com. The Win Streak Carlos Ruiz Bobble figurine free to all fans on Tuesday the 24th. So again, log on to Phillies.com. It's going to be a busy month of August here at the ballpark for the Phillies. Dominic Brown comes into the ballgame as part of a double switch for the Phillies, and he'll bat 9th. Ryan Matson is the new pitcher. He'll hit 6th. So Matson is trying to keep this at a 1-run game as he faces the bottom of the Mets order. It's Blanco, Tejada, and then Martinez. And it's 0-1 to Blanco.
That was a great bottom of the 8th inning. That was so much fun to watch. And you have to get Blanco with his great play to prevent a wild pitch, maybe scored a run, and then he throws the 2-2 curveball, and he's almost locked into a 3-2 curveball, and he did it and got the out. And on, as you said, Tom, a tremendous play by Davis at first. But, you know, the veteran guy throws the same thing 2-2 that he threw, 3-2 that he threw 2-2, and you have to be able to do that. Boy, it was loud here, too.
It sure was. Line drive caught by Polanco. One away. Well, looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth inning, the Phillies will have the bottom of the order due up against Rodriguez, but Dominic Brown is part of the bottom of that order because he's in for the pitcher's spot playing right field. And they'll also face Frankie Rodriguez after he threw 18 pitches in relief of Santana in the eighth.
Yeah, and another reason why managers don't like to use closers in the eighth is the old adrenaline rush. You saw what he looked like coming off the mound. It's almost like the game's over at that point, and you got to go back out and do it again, hopefully in a one-run game, and maybe the Phillies will be able to get him in the ninth.
Tejada swings at the first pitch, and it's 0-1.
But it's rare. The guys are rare that can do that in the eighth inning and then go back out in the ninth. And Rodriguez, of course, is one of those guys who has been able to do it over the years. Watch his reaction here. There's that 3-2 curveball. Now look, he's going nuts as he leaves the mound there. And that's some rush he just had to get out of that inning.
That was only part of the show, too. He put on more of a display as he was going to the dugout.
Well, hopefully they don't have to see his final show when the game ends, because that's really a hot dog act.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Tejada, who is 0 for 3. Down the right field line into foul territory. Brown on the run.
Ooh, he can run.
Sure can.
Phillies got shut out 3 times by the Mets in New York last time they played them. And here we go into the ninth, 1-0.
They're in a different place now. I mean, they were in first place at the time, but they're in a different place the way they've been playing. But it also shows you how much the Mets have struggled offensively, too. 1-2 the count. Swing and a miss. Off speed pitch and a good one. 2 outs. 2 quick outs for Matson here in the top of the ninth.
Well, this kid's never seen him before, so he comes with a change up there. It's like, ooh, where'd that go?
They didn't throw that in Buffalo. So Fernando Martinez, who in Buffalo was hitting .255 with 12 homers and 33 RBIs. He had been 3 for 30 at one point around the All-Star break in AAA, and then started to get hot. And that's one of the reasons why the Mets called him up. He's their main prospect, and he has been that way for the last couple of years.
Yeah, he struggled when they brought him to the big leagues last year, hit under 200.
And it's 1 ball and 1 strike as Matson throws him that changeup. The Braves have defeated the Giants 3-0. Tim Hudson, 8 innings, 6 strikeouts, 7 ground ball outs for Hudson in that ball game. There's a ground ball out for Ryan Matson. Wilson Valdez is a little slow with that toss over to first, but he's still retired. Martinez, we go to the bottom of the ninth. It's Ruiz, Valdez, and Dominic Brown due up. Ninth inning. They've got Ruiz, Valdez, and Dominic Brown due up against Francisco Rodriguez. He threw 18 pitches in relief of Johan Santana in the 8th. And the first pitch is inside to Ruiz to start the 9th. David Wright is over toward the line at 3rd. Ike Davis is way off the line at 1st. Pagano is really shallow and right. And it's 2-0 to Ruiz. There you see the alignment. Carlos began the night with his average over 300. He's hit over 400 this month. 2 hits in last night's game. 0 for 3 tonight. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. More than 1 inning is not an oddity for Francisco Rodriguez. In fact, his longest outing of the year here in 2010 is 2 1/3. That's like Raleigh fingers. And a call, strike 3. Carlos must have been thinking that was low. And there's 1 away.
I think it's a strike. He just, he came out of Blanco's glove, and that's a strike.
Yeah. There is, yeah. Well, now Greg Dobbs will pinch hit for Wilson Valdez. Greg overall is hitting 191. There's Chip Hale realigning the infield. Moving Tejada over toward the hole on the right side. Dauber before the ball game was getting his picture taken. Tony Taylor, Greg Gross. 3 for 36 as a pinch hitter this year. And he's ahead 1 ball and no strikes. That picture had a lot of pinch hits in it.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony Taylor, Greg Gross, great pinch hitters. I think Greg Dobbs has got a lot of pinch hits since he's been here.
Well, he's trying to get 1 more here. Dobbs has a hit in 3 career at-bats against Rodriguez. He's also walked once. 1-1 the count. Breaking ball hit foul. Look out, Wilson. It was heading over toward Wilson Valdez.
You hit for me and you almost hit me.
Dobbs with 48 career pinch hits for the Phillies. It's 4th most in franchise history. He needs 4 more to tie Tommy Hutton for 3rd place. There's Greg Gross. That man can pop a pinch hit when you need one.
To wear out left field, I'll tell you. Just waiting for somebody to get on base,
yeah, just a
deep count,
spark it again.
Yeah, because they were great in that 8th inning. Wow, it was loud here.
45,194, 93rd consecutive sellout there in Philadelphia. It's 2-2 to Dobbs. Broke his bat, looped it toward the middle, caught by Tejada. And there are 2 outs.
Kid's quick. Here's the only run of the game as a WB Mason delivery of the game. It's Jeff Francoeur's home run. Pitch out over the plate, and he hit it out of the ballpark to right center field into the first row, and that's it here tonight. WB Mason delivery of the game.
Well, now Dominic Brown. Let's see if Dominic can add a little spark to this game. 2 outs here in the bottom of the ninth. It's a 1-0 game, and he takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Talk about guys who may not see fastballs. He may not see a fastball. Right. Figure Rodriguez doesn't know too much about him, but he probably knows that he can hit the fastball. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
It's a tough situation for a guy like Dominic Brown. Never faced a tremendous pitcher like this guy. So he just went curveball changeup with him.
They weren't smiling last night. The count is 0-2. And he stays alive.
This has been a really good game tonight. It's been alive for a 1-0 game. There's a lot of different situations and little things. And ironically, it's his long ball that's the difference.
Phillies have had base runners. They've stranded 8 so far in this game. But it took until Polanco in the 6th to get a hit.
That was outside. As you've mentioned, he does not call the pitch away to the left-handed hitter the way he calls the pitch away to the right-handed hitter.
Trying to check his swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. This is the third base umpire, Mike DeMuro. And Rodriguez has a 1-2-3. Bottom of the 9th inning to finish off this ball game and pick up a save for the Mets. They've evened up this series at 1 win apiece as they shut out the Phillies 1-0. It's the 4th shutout of the year for the Mets over the Phils. 9th time the Phillies have been shut out this season. That eclipses last year's total. And our Chevy player of the game is Johan Santana. Boy, he and Cole Hamels were both really good tonight.
It's just a really good game tonight. Unfortunately, the Mets prevailed by 1, but Santana was dealing with a good changeup. Of course, he had his fastball in good spots. He jammed a lot of hitters to a breaking ball once in a while, but basically lived fastball changeup. The only hit, the first hit he gave up was Polanco. Now he makes a tremendous play on this bunt. Get Jimmy Rollins going into third base with first and second and nobody out. He exited. At that point, Rodriguez took it the rest of the way, and Johan Santana is our Chevrolet player of the game.
Game that took 2 hours and 39 minutes. A pitcher's duel won by Johan Santana. The Mets, they win at 1-0. We'll be back after this.